All right, so what we want to do next is go ahead and separate these pieces from the pattern, and then we're going to get sewing on those. So the first thing we're going to do is select all of those using our selection tool. We're going to right click anywhere on the lines, and we're going to clone as pattern. Okay, click, and it creates that, so we can still zoom out and pan, which is great. All right, so I'm going to hold down the shift key, and I'm going to click. Perfect. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. Now, we have the pattern, and that's looking great, but we're not completely done. All right, so what I want to do first is go over to your object browser, and if your property editor is in the way, you want to hover over this line and drag this down so you could see the more details here. So what we want to do is create a new fabric. We're going to do add, and we're going to just name this guy shirt. We're going to select all of these pieces, and we're going to drag this fabric onto here. Perfect. All right. The next thing we're going to do is address the sleeve. Remember, we still need this cutout, and we need this piece. So let's see here. So the first thing we're going to do is this created a piece too. When we separated here and this was an internal line, it acted as a piece just like the rest of these. But what we're going to do is turn this into an internal line and put it back in place. So what we're going to do is select this piece, right click, clone as internal shape, and we're going to hold down the shift key, and we're just going to move it off to the side. Perfect. So now what we want to do is take it, we can put it up here if you're trying to make sure it's aligned, and I'm going to delete using the delete key. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to pull it right down to the edge. Now there's one thing I will get rid of that I don't think that we're going to need. So I'm going to pull it up, and you see these 2 points that I created, those guides. I usually do things like that for guiding purposes, but I don't always need them. So what we're going to do is do that, and we're just going to delete the points. So let's bring this guy down. Perfect. All right. So the next thing that we want to do is actually separate this from the actual sleeve so that we can achieve this portion here. So what I want to do, select this, right click, and select cut. Perfect. So now we cut out this piece, and I'm going to move it over here just like so. And it's another piece that we're going to need, and this piece is actually pretty simple. We're going to use the regular rectangle tool. What we're going to do is click and select about half of the overall space. Go about right, maybe about right there. And then what I'll do is go ahead and move this down. Drag this down, just like so. Holding the shift key, because we don't want to do that. Perfect. Alright, so that's going to give us that portion as well. So I'm going to go ahead and select this and move it over here. Bring these guys a little closer, and I'm actually going to bring them down. Alright, So these are interesting pieces because what's going to happen is we're going to take, when we're doing the sewing, we're going to take this part, we're going to sew it to this to here, this to here, and then this part we're going to take this side to this side. Okay. All right, perfect. So we won't actually need this anymore. So let's go ahead and delete this completely. Just hit delete. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to select all of the pieces. Let's move them over. Let's reposition a few different elements here. So I'm going to position this guy maybe off to the side there. I'm going to take the collar and put it up here. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we're getting ready to sew.